Hi, my name is Mark Sallard and welcome back to Little Green Man. Well, right before every election we often hear the question, who are you going to vote for? And the answer may come back eventually to a vague political idea like, well, it's the Workers' Party, or they're good for the economy and businesses, or I've always voted for insert party name. But it can often come down to the fact that the person running comes across as a really nice guy and everyone else seems like jerks. Or it may come down to who was the best dressed during the debates. So who are you voting for is really the wrong question. At the very least, it's not the question you really should be asking yourself. The question that should consume all of us as we come close to an election is, what are you going to vote for? The who is completely irrelevant. Several months ago, a friend of mine told me that they personally knew an MLA. She told me that the MLA in question is quite genuine. He believes in what he's doing. He's a family man and so on. And even more recently, I had another conversation about an executive of a multinational corporation. I was told he's not a bad person, he's a good man. But what makes a good person good in this context? I mean, what makes for a good executive or a good politician? Now I'm going to demonstrate that the way a person treats their family and friends and the people they meet in one-on-one scenarios, those things that make them good, is no judge of how good or bad they really are. And certainly it's no measure of how good a politician they will be. And the people closest to them are probably the worst judges of their character. Anyway, so here's a true story. A woman fell in love with a man. She thought he was dashing and dynamic. He was gentle and caring and cried like a baby when he found out his mother was dying of breast cancer. He treated her like a queen, tending to her as she suffered. He had such a close relationship with her that he was devastated by her death and carried the grief for her for the rest of his life. Of course, the woman adored him. They eventually married. One could even see a Romeo and Juliet style ending to their relationship. Now, doesn't this man sound wonderful? And the Shakespeare reference? Well, it only seemed to make him more so. But what a great guy he must have been, such a good human qualities, a man who loved his family and his friends and was loved by his family and his friends. So maybe this could be someone you might vote for, all things being equal. He certainly sounds like someone whose heart was pure gold. But of course you know this is coming. The great reveal. The woman's name was Eva Braun, and her very own caring lover was Adolf Hitler. Now, I may not have told the whole story, but the story was true nonetheless. So Adolf was good to his family. Therefore, he must have been a good man. And his politics must have been good too. Right? So how about one more glimpse at how the family view can be quite a perverse way of viewing a person in power? Angela Hitler, Adolf's half-sister, spoke very highly of him, even after the war, and claimed that neither her brother Adolf nor she herself had known anything about the Holocaust. She declared that if Hitler had known what he was doing in the concentration camps, rather what was going on in the concentration camps, he would have stopped them. Because to those that knew the human side of him couldn't reconcile that with his inhuman side. Hitler's persona, his human side, had no bearing on the policies he literally forced upon the world. Adolf's sister sounded quite delusional, didn't she? But maybe she wasn't so delusional. Maybe there was something deeper going on, because if there's something that people do all the time, a nice person in one situation who is observed and be judged to be nice must be nice in all other situations. Maybe it's the human desire for consistency, perhaps. Angela believed Adolf was good, therefore the tales of him being inhuman must be wrong. And now you've had a glimpse of the human side of Adolf Hitler. You're probably not going to change your mind about him, and I don't blame you. And I'd probably be more than a little bit upset if you thought better of them after this, to be fair. However, if you heard a similar story about a person running for office now, it could make you feel more favourable toward that person. And don't forget, Adolf Hitler was once voted into power. So if one political party's campaign presents the candidate as more good than the other, it in no way means the legislation will be forced on you and your neighbours over the next few years will be good. Not at all. So now consider the unnamed MLA I referred to earlier and the multinational executive. They are both considered good by those that knew them personally. But does a good person take away other people's livelihoods so that a government can balance the budget, or so a company can make a more obscenely huge profit and give them no more thought? Does a good person sell off publicly owned property and businesses on the cheap so that a few rich people can get richer, and the working people that previously owned those concerns have to pay more for the same services and goods as a result? Does a good person destroy public healthcare so that people that need it will receive a lower quality service or even go without entirely? Does a good person give a tax break to businesses and corporations and the rich people that own them and pass the costs of those tax breaks on to the working people by way of service cuts and the increased cost of living? Does a good person freeze a minimum wage increase, just an increase, and then give himself a $20,000 a year pay raise? Does a good person put ideology over human beings, knowing that the same ideology has failed the world over? Does a good person sign off on digging up fossil fuels, pumping it through thousands of miles of leaky pipes to be burned as fuel, not caring that the carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere will speed up a cataclysmic crash into climate change? But honest shareholders so can make a few higher dividends. And I can come up with a few more examples. Anyone that puts ideology or their own personal gain over the welfare of human beings has no business representing those human beings. Now, going back to the question, what are you going to vote for? Well, may I suggest that you vote not for the candidate or for the party, but rather for those things that will make your life better. Vote for the policies that have been proven to work elsewhere, or at least have been demonstrated that they will work. Ask yourself, can the political party in question produce research and documentation or other fact-based foundations to their policies? And when those policies become legislation, will they work, not just to further a soulless ideology, but to make your life and the lives of your family, your neighbours and your fellow constituents' lives better? Don't ever vote for the good man or the good woman. Don't vote for the good man or the good woman's policies that have failed everywhere else. Never vote for someone a second time who didn't at least make a concerted effort to fulfill their election promises. And don't vote for people. Don't vote for parties. Because in the end, it's only the policies that become law. Little Green Man. This is the back door to the Manitoba legislature. Now, if you hit the subscribe button now, hit the notification bell, then you won't be surprised when they try to stick something up your back door.